We're doing the full Hillary Clinton here.
Okay.
I thought we were leaning in, Barbara.
All right, fine. I'm better than all you guys. Come on.
Appreciate that.
I love each and every one of you.
No, I love
the
you
answer
too.
is, yeah.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Tom Woods School of Life Weekly Update. This is Kevin Dolan, your community director, with David Moore, Jeremy Evans, and Barbara Williams, facilitators at the School of Life. We had occasion this weekend to be in Orlando with Tom and the gang. It was 150, 200 people there. I would say roughly half of them are people that we're familiar with from our groups. So we got to really connect with a lot of people that we've been seeing, as David said, this size, and now they get to be life size, and that's pretty fun. So I wanted to just go around first and say, what's a connection that you made this time around that was interesting to you? And maybe let's start with Barbara.
Yeah. I actually got a chance to do a one-on-one in person. That was super fun. One of my members just was like, hey, I've got a lot of ideas. She's been a little bit sick lately, so she hasn't been able to come to all of the group calls more recently, but she just had a lot of like, oh, what if I do this? I really like travel, and I really, just kind of in that mode of exploring all the things that she enjoys and like how she might be able to monetize that or turn that into some kind of career. So we just had we took a little corner off to by ourselves, and we just dug into it, and that was really, really fun. She apologized for taking me away from like networking and like all of the hubbub of everything going on, but I was like, no, this is like a deep conversation. This is like what feeds my soul. So that was awesome. That made me happy.
Yeah. I got to have one or two situations like that where somebody's kind of looking for a framework. And one of the things that was cool was to kind of realize that you do have a framework. Like you've kind of seen enough situations that you can kind of filter them through a decision tree and help them narrow things down. Feels really good to be able to, like, in 20 minutes come up with something useful. So yeah, it's a lot of fun.
And it's also an extra layer of fun because she's like in her early 20s. So like, I think maybe for all of us, when we talk to someone with that much, distance between us in age, that you're like, oh man, this is what I wish someone told me, at that point. This is where I wish, I was directed. So that was an extra layer of cool.
Jeremy, what about you? Who'd you meet?
Excellent. Yeah, I met a lot of people. And one thing that stood out to me was there were like 4 or 5 people in Colorado that I didn't know were in Colorado or just hadn't heard of at all prior.
Oh, right.
Shameful. We have a directory or whatever. Put yourself on the directory. Just make yourself known. It was both amazing that 50% of the people there were in the accountability groups, and that 50% of the people there were not in the accountability groups. Right. I think that the argument could be made in either direction. The accountability groups are really how you're known to people in the broad sense. One of these folks from Colorado, I do believe he's from Colorado. I had a long talk with a guy who's thinking about quitting the Army, and that's near and dear to my heart. My whole family has been military, aside from me and my brother. And I have a close friend still in the Army. And they pull you along, man. They pull you along forever. Get that pension. Oh, we want to give you a promotion this cycle. We're going to give you, it's going to be such a nice promotion. And half the guys are always thinking about leaving and never do for 30 years. And it really delays their family. And yes, it's great money. But he had already made that decision. I don't want to tell people that decision. I'm a libertarian. He's a libertarian, right? The decision is somewhat straightforward. But it takes a lot of courage to do that. I was really impressed by that. And I look forward to working with him, hopefully to get him on the right foot, either towards business or employment, maybe not with Lockheed Martin. And that would be the ultimate achievement. Still make money out of the Army and don't work at Boeing, Lockheed Martin, Raytheon, et cetera. A quick shout out to my boys at Raytheon.
I'm telling you what, though, if you're, this is just my experience, but I worked at 2 of them. And if you're frustrated by what you see in the service, it's just it's like all of the same crap without the cool factor in the defense industry. It's the same ossification, the same bureaucracy, the same just sort of paying your dues and biding your time. And yeah, so I 100% support you in your effort to save him from that terrible fate.
There goes our episode sponsor.
Oh, no.
Listen, I endorse Raytheon. That was the read. That was the role right there, David. You missed it. Yeah, I don't want to tell anyone what to do. Those are huge life-changing decisions, but he's already kind of made up his mind. I think he's just between some things. Giving options is something that I can do and that people routinely do and get in the accountability group. So it was nice. I mean, that last 50% holdout, you know who you are. We're looking at you through the airport, through my phone, into my backpack. You are, I think that we really brought those people on board. And that's better for everybody, frankly.
Yeah. And I actually met several folks who were like, you know, I didn't feel like I was in the right room, or, you know, it didn't, honestly, like there were a couple like I didn't vibe with my facilitator. And I was like, cool, go check out the others. Go. And like, even if, you know, some of these people really benefit from being with a small like tribe that checks in on them day to day, week to week, and develops these like deep relationships. But there are also folks in the group whose professional aspirations and even sort of personal temperament really benefit from just jumping around and going and seeing what's out there. And so like the calendar's available, right? So if they want to check out another call, they can just ping the facilitator, right?
I spent all weekend telling people that.
Yeah.
Because is it a process of seduction, persuasion? It's not clear. But I was luring away all of Barbara and David's people into my own group. Not intentionally, but that was a natural byproduct. Especially after my speech and this and that, people were coming up to me, oh, I think you got a lot of cool stuff. The reality is they haven't seen this podcast. They don't know the truth. If they did, they would stay with Barbara and David. But yes, it's one click. It's one click now. Well, in theory, if there are problems, please let me know. But it's a complex little piece of organization that with one click, you click on the calendar, you click the event, boom, you switch over, Rocket Chat, spreadsheet. It's all beautiful. And you could just try it out and switch. You could attend every accountability call that there ever was in a single week if you really, really wanted to. And why not show that initiative?
Yeah. If you know, if anybody's in Jeremy's group and they're feeling awkward about leaving it, he put in like weeks of work to build a machine so that you could leave it. So just recognize that effort.
He wants you to have freedom.
But he does. I mean, it's very true that he possesses this raw animal magnetism. He just throws it around. He can't help himself. It's very true.
It's true.
And in all seriousness, my goal was, God, sorry, intercom here. Let's see if I can do this. My goal was to enable people who didn't like me, because I had one guy say, hey, you're not serious enough. And that's fine. I'm probably not serious enough for that guy. That's great. Go somewhere else and talk with David, because David is much more serious.
Very serious person.
Or potentially talk to Barbara. But I really do want people to be served by the offering. If it's a personality mismatch, that's a very silly thing to have a hiccup on, because we have two much better personalities than my own. So,
not better.
And
we're different.
Just way better.
Just different.
Well, she
said Barbara was
Kevin.
She said better before the call, but
that's right. That's right. We have the whole Barbara account. Before this, she was better. In public, we're doing a full Hillary Clinton here.
Okay.
I thought we were leaning in, Barbara.
All right, fine. I'm better than all you guys. Come on.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
David, who'd you meet?
I have met a lot of great people and got to go deeper with some people they're in my groups already, which I really enjoyed. I was looking forward to that. I had a fun conversation with the gentleman at dinner on Saturday night who is a professional speaker and media trainer and has a group of his own, and got to learn about the National Speakers Association. I got to learn about just some real great feedback on podcasting and video production, just how to basically get better at being on camera, and also just talked about the value of a network around people who want to kind of like we have on our content creation call, right? Where we have people that get together that want to be great at a particular aspect of content creation. And of course, today I'm roaming, and I'm in a co-working space, and I'm in like a phone booth office today because I'm in motion today. But it really solidified my desire to have more of a fixed space for recording, for audio quality. And so I'm saying this today so that you guys will know that this is an intention that I'm putting out there. But I also I kept my notebook with me all weekend long, and I probably have a handful of cards and a dozen or so commitments that I made, micro commitments to people that I'd like to follow up on today, tomorrow, the next day, and just kind of check off those commitments. I'm really big on trying to leave no lead left behind, right? So if I say I'm going to do something at a conference, I don't get discouraged if I don't address it in the first day or two. I keep that commitment in my notebook and try to go back and make sure that in the next week or so I get to it. So, but yeah, great connection around podcasting and media and speaking that night at dinner.
Yeah, David is great about notes. He's got notes all the time. He's constantly.
So are you. I see you with your notebook. So
yeah, it's a beautiful thing. Tell us about the sort of events proper. I mean, I know that like for most of us, the goal was this sort of individual networking, and so we were spending some time hanging back and talking to people. But I'm interested to know what you got from the presentation format. So why don't we start back with you, David?
Well, presentations were great. I would say number one, I was just blown away with Doc Dixon, just on the lighter side, just as much of a comedian as he is a magician, and I was just so impressed with them. So if that's, I don't know if that'll be available for recording, but it was an incredible show.
He was great. Yeah,
yeah, he was great. I would say I really enjoyed the first presentation by Ali Rack. Am I saying her name correctly? How to Fight and Win in a Blue State. I just thought she had a really great energy. Her stage presence was amazing, and not just the delivery, but also just the real optimism she had around keeping her friends energized around issues that were important to her, but also prioritizing family and kind of not having to sort of give up everything at the expense of being engaged with her local politics, but weaving it in and integrating it into her life. So I took some notes in her presentation to think about maybe being a bit more involved, and still having a life outside of that world.
Yeah, she was really like fearless and like no nonsense. I loved her energy just in general. Like she was an inspiring person just to hear speak. I agree with that.
Yeah. And some kids too, right? How many kids?
I don't remember, but yeah, she's a mom.
I don't recall, but she's a mom.
That's just always one of those things that kind of keeps me out of the limelight, at least the spooky, scary political stuff, right? You always worry about your kids or your wife or just getting you put yourself out there, but it's not just you, it's everyone you know and love. And it was basically fine. I mean, yes, she got doxxed, but she had the experience that I think most people do, which is nobody remembers that in 2 days, maybe a week. Yeah. Right.
Well, I think her experience as a mom made it that much more. It eliminates some of the excuses for involvement for those of us that are worried about, our world being, affected by speaking up or speaking out on specific things. So I guess maybe just more the example she set was what really spoke to me.
Cool thing about being a homemaker is you're not going to get fired by HR. I mean, like,
right.
Not to say that like doxing doesn't suck for everybody, but like there's advantages to being independent of that system for sure. And that would be my favorite too, I think, because I think it's just increasingly everybody's got an internet connection. Like if you're in small town West Virginia and you've got teenagers, those teenagers are on the same internet as everybody else. And so the idea that you can sort of hide in a red jurisdiction I don't think that lasts much longer. And so you kind of have to learn how to fight the local battle. So yeah, anyway, she was great. Barbara.
Yeah, well, another great presentation was by our very own Jeremy. And I can attest to this, not only in my own being impressed by him and his his speaking ability, and everything that he covered was ridiculous, like an intense amount of information. But I've already done 3 calls this week with my regular group calls, and every single group call, the people who attended, their re-1 presentation to go back and watch as soon as it's available is Jeremy's. Mostly because they have to, because they're going to have to pause and rewind and re-listen to a lot of it to catch it all. But I very much encourage everyone to check out Jeremy's replay when it's up, because it's a wealth of information, and I think everybody can take a lot of great stuff from it. So
it was presented at 1.5 times speed, so you
Right.
actually you said it
exactly.
No, Jeremy, I got the same feedback as well. I think I'm losing a member or two to your group based on that talk. So well done.
They'll come right back. They'll come right back. I mean, you guys have some idea of what I mean, and the reality is, you don't really go into. Well, one, I don't want to just pontificate during an accountability group call. That is not something I'm that interested in. People have all kinds of marketing ideas at any given moment. And the reality is you have to really sit down and strategize and come up with them. I think that's more one-on-ones is where I actually do that. I hope you can get somebody to slow this sucker down. That's going to be really, really good. Now, getting the slides out there, by the way, is going to be a little bit more complicated.
Jeremy, did you talk about your favorite presentation?
No, and I think I will have to. I think I'll have to be brief because apparently I'm boarding a flight. I think they all did phenomenally. Somebody who I hadn't really talked about it with, but who is in my group is Henri. Henri, I think, first off, we cannot make fun of French pronunciations because he can beat you up. That is one thing that he established in his talk. That is now canon. 2, he really knocked it out of the park. Yes, he is reading from notes. I don't think it mattered at all. He had a perfect spacing of jokes and timing. It was broadly applicable. I think he just did flawlessly. I think it was a really, really great thing.
Yeah,
and I had no idea. Right. I had no idea this guy was just going to be absolutely swinging for the fences. So played so coy the whole time leading up to it. And then boom, everyone wanted to buy a book from him. He sold out immediately. Everyone was talking about him thereafter. Really, really impressive. And I'm actually sold. I love traditional weightlifting. And he was telling me that I'm totally screwing up. And I've just thrown out my bag. So Brignole, here I come. Assuming that's not pasta.
Me too. Yeah, no, I had the same, exactly the same experience. Couple injuries and from doing barbell lifts, which is the big no-no. So
Brignole turns to glucose, right? When you eat it.
When you digest Brignole.
That's what Barbara was saying.
Very
That's what happens, guys. That's the science.
It's a workout.
Cool. Well,
he was very engaging. That was a great presentation.
I genuinely have to go. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. We'll.
I'm going to miss my flight back to Colorado. One final takeaway from me, and I hope y'all carry on without me. I love each and every one of you. I love all the people in my groups as well. But God, what a beautiful dream team. Hope Liam can cut this if this is too much. I'm really just seeing how much I can embarrass David.
No, I love
the answer is
yeah.
No, I think that we have a good mix of personalities and skills and backgrounds. I think it's a really beautiful thing, and to see all the people we helped was just absolutely heart melting at times. It was really nice.
Yeah, it was a great.
And maybe I'm sorry, not we helped, but to witness that transformation.
Each other. Yeah, we've definitely helped each other. Felt good to see everybody.
All right, I'm going to help myself onto a plane. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys, for being here. This was great, and we'll see everybody next week.
See you then.